Hi, welcome to Passion to Profits, where we teach you to make, manage and multiply money. In this week's session, I'd like to challenge your mind on a subject: 10 M's of money, making it, managing it, multiplying it, the mistakes, the magnetizing, the miracles of money. But today we want to look at money mistakes. Let me let you know, many people have handled lots of money, some hundreds of millions, but today are broke because they didn't know how to manage what they had. For example, the boxer Mike Tyson, whom in his career made $350 million, but today is 20 million in debt. Well, maybe with the next fight he's about to go into, he might be able to come out of those debt. $20 million in debt after earning $350 million. How is that possible? There are people who could have lived on a fraction of that. What led to such a thing? I would just tell you that primarily it comes from the fact that if you do not have the template of money making, management and multiplying inside you, you will not be able to multiply money. That's why close to 80% of those who win the lottery tend to lose everything they've lost, because even though the money came, they did not have the system for managing it and multiplying it. So what are some of the money mistakes that people are likely to make? Let's start with what I just said now. Number 1, not investing wisely. So here is a man whom $350 million came into his hands, and at some point was actually buying Rolls Royces that matched every suit he wore. That is not the smartest step, because listen, the moment the car was driven out of the showroom it lost its value. You could not return the car and get the exact amount you paid. It lost its value. There are some things that are not asset. They do not return anything on investment, rather they drain. The Rolls Royce will require fueling, servicing, etc. Expectations often do not match reality. When it also comes to investing, some people who even invest, do not invest wisely. Some will put it in a savings account and they do not realize that a savings account is like an emergency account, where you could easily access it and take what you have there. I always like to call it a shavings account, because it's like the bank is shaving you and you are shaving yourself. There's risk in all investment. I am not saying take everything you have, throw into investment, but you've got to understand that there's risk in all investment. However, how should invest wisely? Do background checks, make research, ask questions. When you do that, it helps you to avoid money mistake number 1, which is investment mistakes. Number 2. When you spend money on things that are more like what I call a downward investment, and actually are detrimental to your own health, like drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. Well, I know there are some people who may be reading this or listening to me, who are into alcohol and other indulgence, but you gotta understand these are consumptions that do not add value to you. Drugs, certainly when we say drugs we mean hard drugs. Classified as hard drugs, we are not talking of medicines for your body. Hard drugs are ways of wasting money. There have been people who have handled millions of pounds and dollars and it had gone out of their hands because they formed a drug habit and it totally destroyed them. What shall we say of cigarettes? Also, it is the same thing. These are money mistakes. Number 3, spending more than your income. Spending more than your income is an assumption that you will always be in employment, or that you will always have business, or you will always have a source of income. It is a life of risk if you would take risk. Why don't you take risk in investment and saving, rather than taking risk on expected income and spending it before it comes? Many people live and surrender to these temptations, and you now end up living paycheck to paycheck. You've got to learn if you want to. If you feel that you are spending more than your income, then you need to increase your source of income, and you should not increase your spending but rather increase your income, and when you increase your income you are able to stay out of debt and you are able to also save. There are various ways to save. You might do the 50, 30 or 20, 50 on all your expenses. 30% on meeting bills like paying for your house. 10 out of the 20 left to God and 10 to yourself. In other words, you pay your obligations to God, then pay yourself. You spend 30% taking care of your investments like your house payment, and then 50% on daily expenses, but there are people who have even more income than that. All you have to do is you adjust the figures to suit your situation. The next point is getting involved in get-rich-quick schemes. I could spend a whole day on this. How? Many people have had their fingers burnt through pyramid schemes, Ponzi schemes, and dare I see, and I know some people don't like this one, that is multi-level marketing. I have an issue with multi-level marketing because what they do is push stuff you don't need on you. Make you think that if you join you'll be at level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You bring people, you rise up. But, the bottom line is that, the founders of this multi-level marketing are the ones who make all the money in it. That's my candid opinion, and oftentimes they push on you materials you don't need and your friends do not want to buy, and if you are not good at selling you are in bigger trouble. Then there's the pyramid scheme, which is also more like multi-level marketing. So you introduce 2 people, you rise, you introduce 4 people, you rise again until you get to the zenith of the pyramid. Then Ponzi scheme is where you are told that if you brought 50k you will get 10k every month as interest on your money. That sounds like you brought 50k, and make 10k every month. If you left every money with them, it means your 50k in 12 months will produce 120k. No bank can match that. No banking system can match that, but these guys will promise you that. The way the Ponzi scheme operates is that they feel that if they have asked 1,000 people to bring their money, all the 1,000 will not show in one day. So they are robbing Peter to pay Paul, and they also take out of it. The day the bubble busts is when suddenly the whole thing is exposed and all the people show up to ask for their money. Do not get into any get-rich-quick schemes. It may look lucrative, plus it is very tempting. It looks good but destructive. Next one, of course, is that many people get to make money mistakes because they lack emergency funds. What do we mean by emergency funds? Lockdown came and many people didn't know what to do. They didn't have money, they didn't have cash, because they are waiting for the next salary, and so many were stretched. If not for charities that made food available to people, there would have been more people who died of hunger during the lockdown than through coronavirus. So when you have emergency funds, these are monies which you keep away, that you can reach for, especially in the times when it is needed. If you don't have it, you are making a grave mistake. How do you do this? How do you set up an emergency fund? By setting up an automatic savings. This is a process where you tell your bank to send a certain percentage of your money to a savings or other accounts for the purpose of keeping it for future use. Then after you give, and God is 10%, that's the tithe you pay yourself. I want to believe that you are committed to giving to God. Make sure you give yourself a 10 in an emergency fund which you do not touch. Let me tell you the truth, if you don't have emergency fund that is worth 6 months of your salary, you are in danger. And you may say, hey, are you for real? I am for real. You see, the coronavirus which just happened is an introduction that there are still more coming. That was why when in some nations, they finally told people, okay, lockdown has been eased, you can go out now, the banks were jammed because people have never had the culture of creating emergency funds. Which, maybe during some of the hours they could have gone to use their credit card or their banking card to draw money from the ATM emergency funds. If you don't have a money you stash away somewhere, for the days that you may need them, you may be exposing yourself to danger. The money you do not need, you will not use. We will get to see other money mistakes and how to avoid them. I trust you learned a lot from this. Please, share your thoughts with me. Also, I would appreciate if you share this with your friends. Passion to profits, making you valuable in the marketplace. Thank you. Have a blessed day.